episode of Horror Movie Night. And then how about you open up your ears, dildos, because this week we're getting nailed with 1986's Trick or Treat. Adam's back in black, I'm on the highway to hell, and Scott's asking who made who. Special thanks to Scott this week for allowing the producers of this film to use his childhood bedroom as a set. Now let's get our turntables out and really fuck up our favorite records as we will rewind to the 80s with this perfect pick. So
obviously Adam wrote that. Like, there's no question there.
Yeah, no. But I was thinking the same thing. Like, as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, I bet this is what Scott's bedroom used to look like.
No, man, because it wasn't the 80s. My bedroom was actually, it was a wood paneling, so it's not that far off. But the posters that I had up were Can't Hardly Wait. Keep in mind, this is because I worked at a video store, so I had first dibs on these. So The Matrix, Blair Witch Project, shit. I can't remember what else. But like those were they were contemporary posters. So no metalhead posters, because I didn't go to my first concert until I was like 17 or 18, and it was Blink-182. I didn't go to my first metal show until I was like 19. In college.
Okay.
So yeah, I never got metalhead swag when I was growing up in the middle of a cornfield. So I am not the same as this kid. This kid basically lived a dream.
Way to pussify my imagined version of you.
I think that's kind of what I do.
So let's get into what this movie's about a little bit. This one wasn't the longest write-up that I've ever had to do, because the movie's pretty simple. So the movie opens with this teenager named Eddie, but his nickname is Ragman, writing a fan letter.
I wish they would have explained that, though.
There's no explanation to it at all.
I thought they were saying Raghead a lot at the beginning of this movie, and I was like, what the fuck is this about?
Well, and like the fucking letter that he's writing is like borderline stalker letter. Like, he signs it, "Your best friend forever," Ragman.
Hey man, I wrote you three more letters, but you still ain't calling. I know I wrote the address on the letter. Perfect.
He is literally the metal version of Stan. It's fucking bad. But he's writing to Sammi Curr.
Sammi Curr.
Curr. Is his favorite musician who happens to come from his hometown. Which, I don't know. I mean, Scott, you're from a town with a lot of bands. I feel like most of the local dudes tend to fucking hate the popular band from their town. Like, I'm not really buying that he's, like, the number one fan.
Let's assume that the 80s were a different time.
All right.
Like, this is an alternate reality where I would want to go play my high school, you know? Like...
Okay, So that brings us to this point. Sammy is supposed to play the high school dance, but he's banned for his satanic performances. And it's around this time that Eddie discovers that Sammy has died in a bizarre hotel fire, which I have an issue with. Do either one of you feel like Sammy definitely should have committed suicide instead of died in a fire? Like, I feel like that...
Yes. Here's the way that I will make it feel better. Make you feel better about this. Let's just go along with the concept that it was misreported in that newscast that he did set the entire thing on fire.
Well, like,
kill himself.
Even if that's it, like, I just felt like if he killed himself, it would also make the scene where Eddie's, like, angrily tearing down all the posters make a little bit more sense to me, too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, because then it's like, oh, you fucking asshole. But it's like, it's not his fault that he died in a fire. He didn't... Well, I mean, he might have, but I mean, it doesn't seem to imply anything other than, like, yeah, this fucking weird hotel fire happened. So then the star of the movie, Gene Simmons, hands Eddie gives Eddie the last ever...
Co-star.
Gives Eddie the last ever recorded demo of Sammy, and that's when Eddie discovers that he can communicate with Sammy by playing the record backwards.
Oh, well, really all he has to do is scratch the ever-loving shit out of it.
But hey,
I mean, it's not like it's the last copy on Earth or anything. Just run it fucking backwards and at different speeds and stuff. Go ahead. It's no big deal.
So at first, Sammy helps Eddie get revenge on the bullies at school, and it's fairly innocent. But then soon, Sammy is kind of demanding Eddie to kill, and Eddie refuses. But
the thing is that I don't understand why he's like, he needs Eddie's help. Because I'm pretty sure that he can kill everybody he wants from beyond the grave. I don't know.
First soda needs to pour in a record player to cause Sammy to come to life.
That's exactly it.
He needed Eddie to pour that soda by mistake. So Eddie destroys his record player, hoping that it will stop Sam, and he is grounded for destroying it. So he asks his friend Roger, who is without a doubt the best character in the movie. The one scene where he's just staring at a cheerleader putting up a sign literally made me laugh out loud while sitting in my living room.
And then you mentioning it just reminded me, and I was like, yep, I'm going to have to laugh at that out loud as well. Hey, so I love the fact that his nerd, quote-unquote nerd friend is such a nerd that he can actually, like, explain. He knows all of Sammi Curr's music.
Yeah.
And he can go through it. And he knows, like, the terminology, and then he just deadpans it. Yeah. That character is so good. Like, I've seen this movie 4 times now, and the first 3 times, I never caught how awesome that character was. So this time around, I got it.
No, Roger's the shit. And Roger has to steal the cassette tape that Eddie had made so that the main bully, Tim, doesn't listen to it and die. He asks Roger to steal it and destroy it. But Roger gets curious and decides to listen to the tape, which brings Sammy to him, now demanding that Roger play the tape at the Halloween dance, which causes Sammy to return. Everyone thinks it's a tribute to the dead rocker until he starts killing the audience, which I thought was weird because everyone picks on Eddie for being a metalhead, and then they are all unreasonably excited about this metal musician. Like I'm like, wait,
I guess,
what?
Let's just imagine that it's because of Sammi Curr's, like, otherworldly powers. Let's just assume that, okay?
Okay, so here's a quick question for you before I move on, by the way, because I do have this one note written down. Did either one of you notice the fucking rap song that's playing at the dance when Roger's, like, trying to set up the tape?
It's awesome.
It's like the rap at the end of Monster Squad. Like, it's just like Dracula and the like, it's like the most fucking, like, 40-year-old white guy rapping over a beat for, like, a rap song.
That was the shit. That was what hip hop was in 1988, all right? Or 86. Do you not remember, like, Freddie, the Freddie rap, or...
Oh, I remember it. It's like, Dracula and Freddie too, the creatures swimming in the swimming pool.
Let me finish the concept here, though. So we got Trick or Treat rap, we got Monster Squad rap, we got Freddie rap, and we got Waxwork 2 rap. So, I mean, it was pretty much kind of a trope.
Let's keep in mind, there's 2 Freddie raps. There's the Fat Boys, there's the one the Fat Boys did, and there's the one that Fresh Prince did.
Nina reminds you, too, that Lou Garou at the end of the movie howls at the moon, and it smash cuts to Wolf Cop, Wolf Cop, Wolf Cop, Wolf Cop, Wolf Cop. So that's still going on today. Like,
although, let's just be real, Wolf Cop rap is nowhere near as good as Trick or Treat rap.
No, nothing will ever be as good as that. I was like, why can't I find out what this song's called? Because I would download it and own it right now. So anyway, Eddie realizes that Sammy can travel via radio signals and begins destroying every radio that he sees until he eventually traps Sammy into a car and sends it over an unfinished bridge. And that is the end of this heavy metal film. So I kept making references to this movie starring Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne, and that's actually in reference to, and I will post a picture on the Facebook page of this, the copy that I own of Trick or Treat, the cover is literally just Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons.
Yeah, that's what it shows on, like, IMDb, and if you Google this and everything, that's what always comes up. And they're both super side ancillary characters that have no more than one scene apiece.
So it says across the top, Trick or Treat, starring Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne. And I bought this when I lived in L.A. There's a record/used DVD store there called Amoeba Records that, like, if you're ever in California...
Everybody knows about Amoeba Records.
You gotta go at least once. It's insane how much shit they have in there. But I saw this DVD, and they were selling it for $25 because it was out of print. But I bought it, and I'm embarrassed to say that the only reason I bought it was because of the note that one of the employees had pasted on the front of the DVD case. Like, it was a Post-it note on there that just said, just a heads up, Trick or Treat is in fact the greatest heavy metal horror film since Shock 'em Dead, but it does not star Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne. And like when I went to pay for it, I'm like, can I keep the Post-it note? So I still have this like 5-year-old Post-it note stuck to the cover of my copy of Trick or Treat, because that was kind of the biggest reason why I wanted to purchase it. But this movie's fairly cool because it, beyond being like a pretty decent little like 80s horror film, it does a really good job of playing an homage to a lot of like the controversial like PMRC hearings and like the Judas Priest Ozzy Osbourne controversies, and you know the playing records backwards to hear messages from the devil and stuff. It's really kind of fucking smart, and it's weird that it was directed by the fucking geek from American Graffiti, who appears,
What?
Yeah,
Awesome.
He appears as the principal at the dance, wearing the Groucho Marx nose.
Oh, no wonder he looked familiar.
Yeah, that's
like
the Toad from.
I was like, that guy looks familiar. Yeah.
Well, that was because he looked like Groucho Marx at the time.
Yeah, it's just that was not a mask. And the only other note I have here, is just a direct quote from the movie, which I guess I missed in previous. But the fucking Ozzy Osbourne scene where the interviewer's like, so this album, Do It Like a Dog. Now that's about animal behaviors, correct? Is probably my favorite line of the movie.
I think this movie is the most sober I've ever seen Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, man, he had a lot of lines that he hit him out of the park. Good job, buddy.
Yeah. He seemed to get the satire.
I feel like you'd have to.
I don't know, but you're not Ozzy Osbourne.
No, you're right. I am not Ozzy Osbourne.
Our podcast would be way more popular if you were.
All right, can we just talk about how incredible the music in this movie is? It was all written by Fastway.
Yeah, it's fucking
the
great.
Soundtrack is just hair metal gold. I have it. I mean, anybody with any kind of self-respect should. So that's just great. But Matt, when you bought your copy of Trick or Treat in California, I think that they did you a disservice, because no, this is not the greatest metal exploitation film since Shock 'Em Dead. Also, I'm pretty sure Shock 'Em Dead came out after this. I'm not sure. But I really am going to have to stick with my guns. The best metal exploitation horror film is Black Roses. And I know
Black Roses!
See, I'm gonna have to disagree.
Against the world!
I'm gonna disagree with you.
I watched that today too. It's so good. I promise you, it is better.
I disagree with you, but I won't tell you what I think is the better one, because it was what I watched this week. So I'll wait until we get there.
Suspense for another 30 minutes. Okay, that's
Oh,
fine.
yeah.
I can. You can be like my high school girlfriend.
And you know what? The weird thing is that those two movies get compared so much that I went on IMDb earlier today and I was looking at the reviews for Trick or Treat, and 90% of the reviews, the title was just "Fuck Black Roses." Like it was just
so it's kind of turned into like a Megadeth versus Metallica thing with horror fans. It's like you can't like both.
God damn metalheads,
and I sure do. Hey guys, do you remember that one time that I wrote an article for Geekscape about the best heavy metal songs in horror films? Yeah, both of these movies were in it, right near the top. Except number one, which obviously Dream Warriors, because that is the greatest hair metal song of all time.
Yes, 100%. Can't disagree. Signed, sealed, delivered. It's yours.
It's your mine. Also, when I was watching Black Roses, I realized something that I hadn't realized in a previous viewing of this film. Black Roses had a much smaller budget. I mean, they might have spent more money on the movie, but I mean, the effects in Trick or Treat are actually much better in comparison, because the best part about Black Roses has to be, and I don't know how long it's been since either of you guys have watched it, but I definitely needed the refresher. The best part for me was like the very beginning when they're singing "Me Against the World" and like I think it was supposed to be New York City or LA, I can't remember. And like the usher is staring in and watching them play the song, and then this guy comes in with a couple policemen and he's like, "We're here to shut this place down. Did you hear me? Are you insane?" And the guy's like, they're trying to pull him away from the door. He's like, no! And then the whatever fire marshal or whoever he is pulls open the door, and it's cut in such a way that it's supposed to be like the entire audience turned into zombies or monsters or something like that, because that is what Black Roses does to you when you listen to it. But it's three guys. Three guys and a fog machine. That's great. Anyway,
this Trick or Treats definitely didn't have as many rubber suits as Black Roses.
Well, okay, so I'm going to
No.
send you guys something real quick, and you can look at it. And this is essentially what I'll be posting on the Facebook page. But tell me how baffling this is that the back of the DVD for Trick or Treat has this picture of the special effects guy working one of the fucking effects. Like, that's...
I mean, because what the hell? And also, they picked the Sammi Curr where he grabs the principal out of the TV. That was the worst effect of the whole goddamn movie.
But, like, look at that creature, I think, is in 30 seconds of a shot, maybe the entire movie.
More like a 30th of a second of the shot.
Yeah, they really that was a fast cut that they used on that, because I barely even remember it, and I just watched this movie 2 days ago.
Yeah, like, this is
I didn't remember exactly when the movie where it happened.
I was going to say, this is during the ghost sex scene.
Oh my God! Believe me, we are going to talk about ghost sex on this episode in great detail.
I think that we're at the 20-minute mark. We're ready to talk about ghost sex. We should go nuts.
I am absolutely up for that. I just want to point out that the last line on the back of this DVD case says, "It's life and death, and he must draw the line to thwart this mission." And they misspelled "thwart" on the back of the DVD.
He was actually supposed to bake cake, but he made a tort instead.
Thwart. I don't know what the hell that word is or how you would pronounce it in English, but great job, guys.
They absolutely did. Holy shit.
Matt, truth or dare, did you write the copy for the back of that TV?
Holy shit.
All right, so this is the Trick or Treat notes. A lot of the opening of this movie is really homoerotic. Like, this is gayer than Top Gun. Like, this is really, like, it's like all these guys hanging out naked in the locker room, and then they slowly pull off his towel and slowly push him out the door, and Eddie is like really presenting his asshole to it. Like, he's making no real effort to cover up or anything.
I hope we got paid extra that day.
Yeah, let's hope. So, like, there's a lot of really unattractive people in this high school.
That's what's so good about this movie, though, because it's realistic, all right? It's even more realistic than all the high schoolers in Black Roses, because they all look like they're fucking 27.
Yeah, at least they got young-looking actors in it. Like, this Black Roses was worse than, like, Melrose Place. Or, I don't know, what are the 90s shows that had, like, really old
Buffy?
people in them?
Beverly Hills 90210?
Yeah, there we go. What is Melrose Place?
I don't know. I think it was like a soap opera that played on Monday evenings on Fox.
Well, you guys can revoke my 90s kid card, I guess.
So 90s kids, not 90s middle-aged people.
Yeah, I guess. So, Gene Simmons was apparently young once, because he doesn't look like a grizzled old troll in this movie.
He apparently
This is
turned
also
down...
1986 or something like that. He was, like, middle-aged by this point, I'm sure.
I was going to say, because Kiss was popular in, like, the early to mid-'70s, so it's been a good 10 to 15 years of Kiss history right there.
And why didn't they have Paul Stanley as the guy that gets murdered? I would have been much happier. He would have been like, people!
Regardless, I for once in my life, I can actually understand, like, why Gene Simmons used to get laid so much. Because he looked like a smooth motherfucker in this movie.
Well, he was offered the option to play the main character, like the Sammy character, and he was like, "Nah, the script's not that good, but I'll be the DJ."
Between this pool party scene and the scene at the end of It Follows, I don't ever want another indoor pool scene in any of my movies. Never again. Although we do get the amazing line, "Do you got ears, dildo?" in this part of the movie. Like,
I made sure to message you guys that so we didn't forget to say it here.
Yeah, as if I wasn't going to make a note of that.
Scott, you know how Adam's always skipping over references to dildos when he's doing his movie reviews.
Another quote, doesn't it get tough maintaining that level of creepiness? That's a question for Justin, who picked this movie.
Dude, you're on the kill list. Sorry. I mean, I hope we get a couple more podcasts before you get fucking murdered.
Am I going to come home and find a fucking cassette tape with a little love note attached to it on the front of my locker? Be like,
dude, you're going to get a bro job from a ghost, and then your ears are going to get burnt off.
Listen to this when you're alone. Okay, Eddie wants to nail the jocks. He doesn't know how, he doesn't know when, but he's going to hold them down, he's going to fucking nail them. Nail them! Like, he said it so many times throughout this movie, and I was having a really hard time hearing what the hell the demon was, the ghost or whatever was saying in the record. I couldn't understand for the longest time, like, what the hell was coming out of that record whenever he played it backwards. It just sounded like jumbled mess to me. I couldn't get it. But then the scene happens where he goes to the school, he meticulously moves buckets of soapy water and puts chairs in certain places, and then leads the bullies. Like he knows
he's gonna run away.
Exactly, and then he leads the bullies on this chase, and they there's like a crazy improvised slip and slide, which was hilarious, by the way, because that one guy went right through the doors and over, like he ramped a set of stairs, and I was like, oh yes, that's so good. But then he gets home, and he goes, I did what the record said, and everything worked out. And I'm like, that's what you got from like. You're like, yeah, okay. And where else should I put the table? Okay. Well, then I'm gonna take a quick left. Right, I'll get a bucket of water. I'll put it right there. What the hell? Anyways, all I could think about the whole time I was watching this, I had Eva Net stuck in my head.
Nice.
Eva Net and then I wrote the note. I wrote that down, and I phonetically spelt out Eva Net Niage, and I was like, oh wow, I guess I could have just wrote join the Navy backwards. Like, why did I phonetically spell that out? So this is the only record of this recording in existence. I better, scratch the ever-loving shit out of it. I half expected him to be like, 3 MCs and 1 DJ.
This actually is the origin story of Mixmaster Mike. He was originally a DJ named Ragman.
Well, after all
Look back in time.
After all the kids in that high school died, I had to move away and change my name.
And what was it? Neon? Was that the fucking name of Gene Simmons' DJ name?
But his special names in this sucked.
What was Ozzy Osbourne? Was he like Christy McChurch or something?
That would have been way too clever for this movie.
I am pretty jealous of all the cool T-shirts that Eddie has in this movie. He's got a wicked collection of T-shirts.
He sure did.
Yeah, anyways, so I guess it's the scene where he almost punctures the bully's face with that, equipment or whatever.
Yeah, the workshop or whatever.
Yeah, and the bully's like, this isn't over. Like, I won't forget this, Eddie. Through the sacrifice he made, we can't believe the price he paid for love.
Good, not as good as last week.
Yeah,
no,
but it's Phantom of the Paradise, so I instantly appreciate and like it.
Yes.
Until literally 2 nights ago, I had every intention of being beef for Halloween this year.
I don't think that would create a singularity if you guys were both beef for Halloween.
Yeah, ragging on my style.
Sorry, well, and I didn't want to shave. That was my biggest thing.
Oh, true. I have.
That's exactly why I'm not in porn.
The only reason. So I was going to ask Scott how many posters of shirtless men he had in his room growing up, but he already answered that question.
They were all in my closet.
Yeah, where you spent most of high school.
I would have been very upset if you hadn't taken what I set up for you right then.
Yeah. Low hanging fruit, right? Like I said, Eddie leaves a little love note for Tim on Tim's locker, and you know what's the first step of nailing a jock? You make him a romantic little mixtape.
Oh, mixtape, yeah, dude. If I would have known that when I watched this the first time in high school, man, it would have been a lot different.
Yep, we would have been out of that closet nailing jocks left and right. So I'm confused as to what happens here, but I think that we watch the jock guy just not be able to get a boner and then get out of the car angrily and go like look off at the sunset for a bit. Is that what happened? Is that why he got out of the car? Is because he couldn't get up?
I don't know, but I thought he was just like not into her. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be into her either. She wasn't. Like I said, they were very realistic with their beauty standards in this movie.
This is true, but Adam, didn't we just have a conversation about your standards?
No, I don't have any standards. My standards range from ditch pigs to Matilda May. It's all encompassing, all between. So, Justin, you picked this movie because it had ghost sex, didn't you? I know you did.
He's got every time he suggests a movie from now on, it's going to be because of ghost sex. And if it isn't, we're not picking it.
Yep, absolutely. You better really get down to researching because I don't know if there's too many more.
I like to believe that, you know how you can like search certain themes on IMDb? Like, I hope that
ghost sex is one of them.
That ghost sex is a theme that you can search on IMDb and just get a never-ending list of movies in which someone has sex with a ghost.
Well, that'll help me figure out my picks.
Yeah, we've discussed two. We've discussed two of them, and I think the other ones are Ghostbusters and Ghost.
Yep.
So far.
Scary movie. Go ahead.
Yeah, scary movie counts. Well, we should definitely dig deeper into this. Do some significant research.
I got my Kleenex on one side and my hand lotion on the other. I'm ready for research over here.
I think that's going to be Adam's first Geekscape article. top 10 ghost sex scenes in film.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that'll be his first and last, because I do have some standards over there.
Not much, but continue.
So it appears that this girl gets pretty violently raped by this demon in the back of this car. I got a question. If Tim had listened to that, Tim is the jock's name, by the way. If he had listened... would he have gotten demon raped? Is that what the intention of giving that guy that tape was? Because that's fucking hardcore, man. Like, holy shit. It's like, well, I guess Eddie wouldn't have known what was going to happen.
Eddie was planning to nail him, so...
What? Yeah. He was true to his word, man. He didn't know how at the time, but he figured it out. That's an alternate name for this movie, Rape Tape, the tape that rapes.
Perfect double feature with Rape Squad, Act of Vengeance.
A.k.a. Act of Vengeance, a.k.a. Trick or Treat. So the jock shows up at Eddie's house, and he's screaming Eddie's last name, which I believe is Weinbauer. Anybody?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
We'll go with
whatever.
It does, in fact, though, sound like he's just on the guy's front lawn screaming white power over and over again. Like, white power, what did you do to her? She's in the hospital, white power.
We're actually going to go with that.
Here's my question. If you're Tim, and you were literally in the car with this girl, and you walk away for, 5 minutes? Maybe, tops? And then a girl's just passed out in the back seat. Like, why would you just immediately assume Eddie? Like, I know she was listening to the tape, but that seems like a pretty dramatic logic leap.
Yeah, I don't think that's the most. I don't think that's the biggest leap of this movie. Like, don't even be bothered by that. Just get on with your life.
Yeah. So, I guess this movie would technically fall under the category of death by stereo. A lot of death by stereo going on in this movie. Yes.
That might also tie into one of my movies that I watched this week.
All right. So at this point, the demon has a big ass freak out where he's like, shaking shit up in the room and like making the stereo all rattle and stuff, which in the end leads to nothing except knocking over that can of Pepsi and making it pour onto the record, which like soaked it up. Which I mean, that just leads me to think that all he wanted was one Pepsi.
One Pepsi.
Eddie wouldn't give it to him. You know, he went to your learning institution.
That's a pretty sick reference, bro.
Thanks, bro. Everybody knows my references are off the charts. Yeah.
off the hook, or off the charts, whatever it is. I haven't seen that movie. That's kind of a double whammy as far as references go, because not only is it a Suicidal Tendencies reference, it is also a Limp Bizkit reference.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just bring it back to the night.
Man, you know what? I take these references and I just keep rolling.
Are you sure you didn't just do them all for the Nookie?
Yeah, I do these all for the Nookie.
You guys are making me want to break stuff.
I'm pretty sure you break stuff all on your own, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, but this time I'm going to pack a motherfucking chainsaw.
Oh, God.
Why do we know so many Biscuits lyrics?
Dude.
Because they were awesome for a couple days.
No! No. They're about as real as a $3 bill. Don't ever let my wife know that I ever quoted Limp Bizkit and I was like, psycho female blowing up the phone line.
Oh, shit, that first album was so good.
No, it's really not at all. Stop saying that. God,
I thought I knew you.
Metal is so terrible.
Took some
It's
time
terrible.
to put my love into you. Screw you.
But you gotta have faith.
We should
I
get
actually
back to
do like
notes.
that cover. But I have faith.
Re-listen.
That one,
It's
owned.
It's way better. It's way better than that Who cover that they did later on.
Oh, the Behind Blue Eyes or whatever?
Oh yeah, Wes Borland was the thing that kept that band listenable. Then he
Yeah, actually, and he had that like side project, Duke Lion Fights the Terror or whatever.
Yeah, Big Dumb Face.
Big Dumb Face. It was actually pretty entertaining. So yeah, Wes Borland was a pretty solid guitar player, but man,
I appreciate
He's
that he
terrible.
left a band that was arguably at the peak of their career to do Big Dumb Face. Like, there's something really entertaining about that to me.
yeah, because it's gone, so it's like what you want to do.
Back to the notes.
Okay, so we finally see the ghost demon guy, and
At this point, he hasn't killed anyone.
Yeah,
no, he
We're
hasn't.
50 minutes into this movie, and he's killed no one.
he's raped a girl into a coma, and that's it.
Yeah, but there was no body count. I was like waiting for it. 'Cause I was like, I don't remember him killing very many people, but we're almost at the end of the movie, and nobody's dead yet.
It's weird to see Tim Burton in an acting role, though.
Let's be for real here. Tim Burton does not sound that manly at any point in his entire life.
It's weird that this guy went through all this trouble to just come back and clearly not even actually sing live on that stage. Like, the worst lip syncing.
Hey,
It's off time and just awful. Oh,
that was probably the drummer's fault. Always blame the drummer. How mad do you think Neil Gaiman is that he stole his haircut?
Feels like Sammy's plan is lacking. Like, he's put together this whole scheme to get vengeance on a bunch of high school students because he got bullied when he was in high school 20 years earlier. Like, it's not really a good plan of vengeance as far as I can tell.
he's pulling a Freddy and he's like enacting vengeance by killing children of the people that bullied him. But
That must be what it is, because Sammi Curr is like 39 when he dies, and he looks every day of 39 when you get a close up of him. God damn. Rock and roll is not kind.
Yeah.
So there's just lightning bolts going off all over the place.
So 12 people die in that minimum 12 people die in that scene. I started to keep count.
Well, I know for a fact that one person dies, and that's the drummer. He gets totally spinal tapped in this movie. He just explodes in his seat. He's gone. So I didn't understand. I didn't pick up on that he was going through radio waves. I thought he was just going through electricity.
He was. Their storytelling sucks. Don't even worry about it.
Well, did they ever actively say that it was radio waves? Because he was coming out of like wall sockets and shit. There was that one scene where he like killed somebody by jamming his finger into a wall socket and like transferring the electricity to them. I was like, what is going on? Why does he just have these wacky electricity powers now? Like,
he's got a higher body count than the electrical gremlin.
and I mean, obviously, when it all comes down to it, his greatest weakness is toilet water. Because
Dude, this is the best thing about this movie. Like, she's like, oh, he's getting out of the toilet, better flush it. Like,
Yep, that'll keep him in there.
oh man, I mean, it just harkens back to his biggest failure of all the recordings that he did as Sammi Curr, Shark Sandwich, which obviously the critics panned and made a 2-word review, shit sandwich.
Okay, Roger, calm down over there. Also, I don't think that Eddie's last name can be White Power, because he's friends with Roger, who's like the most stereotypically Jewish character I've ever seen in a movie. Just like in every respect, very Jewish suburban kid.
And much like Night of the Creeps, I was really sad to see the friend die. Sort of.
Yeah.
Wait, his guy?
Nah,
he's I'm dead.
Yeah, he's not dead, but there was a second where I thought he was, and I'm like, no, not Roger.
Matt, it's because you see yourself in those weirdo shoes.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not the protagonist. I'm the nerdy friend.
I'm very self-aware of where I am in the movie that I am not starring.
Well, if the movie we're in is Trick or Treat, I think we're living Scott's life, if anything.
No, we're living my dream.
If we're living in the movie Trick or Treat, we have a good chance of survival because there's not a very high body count.
No, only the assholes and the people that were just random bystanders would die. So basically, like...
Adam.
No, nobody that has any speaking lines dies in this movie. Do you realize that? Except for Sammi.
Nobody that has any what?
Speaking lines.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Nobody dies that has a name or speaking lines. Because everybody that got killed in that scene, I guess technically Gene Simmons' character gets killed. And I think Ozzy Osbourne's character is, like, implied that it's murdered, and so is the principal. But is Sammi Curr really able to go through a TV? If so, like, how are people not putting together that these people are randomly getting mutilated while they're on a TV show? Or is, like, a hand coming through the TV or through the camera that's filming them? These are all questions that really don't need to be answered. So we're just going to go with the concept that Sammi really only killed the kids at his little shitty concert where he only played 3/4 of a song and then did the worst guitar solo of 1986. Murdered a bunch of kids. Actually, I think he just teleported them to his own sex dungeon for more ghost sex, and then he dies himself. So really, nobody dies that had any speaking line.
Would you ever see Sammi Curr live? Because based on the little bit of live footage that they showed at the beginning of the movie, I would not.
I would much rather go see Black Roses.
Yeah, like he's like cutting off a snake's head and like just spraying the blood all over him and stuff. That's a little much for me.
Also, I hate really shitty tattoos. Did you notice the tattoos? Because I'm pretty sure whoever played Sammi Curr, those were like his real tattoos, and one was like a total scratcher tattoo on his breast that looks like a shitty demon head. Ugh, it's bad.
All right, so let's talk about what we watched this week. Anybody have something good enough that they think they should go last?
No. I want you to go last because you've been keeping us in suspense so damn long.
All right.
I'll go first. I have a couple things that I just want to bullet point. I don't really want to discuss them. Megan found stuff that she'd watch with me, horror stuff. We've been watching Scream Queens. Guys, you should watch it so that we can discuss it in a couple weeks. It's really fun. It's very meta. If you can work your way through the first episode, which kind of sucks, the rest of them have been good so far. A lot of throwbacks, a lot of famous tropes, a lot of really good jokes. Watch the first episode of the new season of The Flash. Lots of feels. Love that show. On your suggestion, I watched Full Moon's release from 1996, I believe, called Hideous.
Oof.
And it was a total waste of time, so thanks for that.
I told you that there was only one scene that was worth watching.
What scene was that?
It was a little weird creature sucking on a titty.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Actually, that was the worst scene in the movie, so I hated it. So disturbing because she liked it.
Yeah.
Because she's like half asleep and she's like, "Oh, this feels great," and then she's like, "Ah!" I would not wish that on my enemies. But then I watched Deathgasm, which is a recent New Zealand film that's just been released in select theaters. It's basically like a full-length Todd and the Book of Pure Evil with fewer jokes and less good music. So, I mean, I think I would like it a lot better if I hadn't seen Todd and the Book of Pure Evil, because if we're talking about metal exploitation and metal and horror together, we gotta mention Todd and the Book of Pure Evil, because it's pretty much the epitome of like what all these movies from the 80s were trying to do, and it's just the best. Like we've discussed that in Horror Club.
There's no way that the creators of Todd and the Book of Pure Evil didn't at least somewhat think of Trick or Treat at one point or another when designing the character of Eddie. Because they kind of look similar, especially in the opening scene where he's, like, awkwardly standing at his locker waving to the girl that's, like, completely out of his league type deal. Like, that like, quick little scene in the introduction of Eddie, I'm like, that reminds me so much of Todd and the Book of Pure Evil for some reason.
Yeah, oh yeah. I did want to mention, and you guys know this, but I rewatched Friday the 13th, The New Blood, Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan, and Friday the 13th, or Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. They are all the worst movies ever. Actually, I did not realize this, but Jason Goes to Hell is Puppet Master sequel level retarded. Like, it makes no sense. It is the worst sequel possible. Like,
I love that movie. I like that way more. That's the one where like
it's the one where people are just like eating the heart of Jason and like getting possessed. It is the worst of the movies, and that's I mean it's worse than New Blood with the random Firestarter type character. No, the worst is definitely Jason Goes to Hell, because here are the things that happen in that movie. Jason gets blown up, but his heart gets eaten by a dude and then spewed into people. And then when they decapitate one person, a little baby demon about the size of the monster and hideous crawls out of the guy's severed neck and tries... And then, oh, I'm sorry, that thing goes up into the vagina of Jason's sister, and then Jason comes back out looking just like he did at the beginning of the movie. And then an alien, a UFO... shoots white rays down into Jason, and the thing from Fantastic Four's hands come out of the ground and pull Jason down into hell. That's that movie in a nutshell.
So, Adam,
but when
did
you say
that
it all
not sound
fast
like the
in a row
greatest
like that,
thing ever?
It sounds amazing.
Damn it.
There is not a single thing that you said that would make me not want to rewatch Jason Goes to Hell right now.
Everything I just said makes that movie sound so much better than it actually is. I would rather I'd rather sit on Ponzi sticks than watch that movie again.
Well, like I said,
bad.
My recommendations for you were Part 5 and Part 6. Jason Lives and 5.
Dude, I'll watch Jason 6 any day.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, the only thing I like in Jason Takes Manhattan is I kind of dig the opening theme for some reason, but otherwise that movie's kind of garbage. All right, so Adam,
that's all I have.
Well, I only have two things, and one of them is a bit of audience participation. So, would we be able to watch a YouTube video right now and would I be able to capture your guys' reaction?
I'm fine with giving this a shot, and if it doesn't work, we can edit it.
Have you guys ever heard of 1986's Spookies?
Yes!
Yeah?
It's fantastically terrible. Are you talking about Spider-Woman?
I've heard of it.
Yeah,
I've never seen it, though.
Okay, I need you to look up the trailer for it, and we're going to capture the audio of you watching this trailer, because this is the craziest shit I've ever seen.
I think we need to discuss in like a month. Seriously, it's so batshit crazy. We could have a great episode.
What the fuck is happening?
That's what you can just say for the entire movie.
This is, without a doubt, the most confusing trailer I've ever watched of a movie.
And the trailer... The movie isn't less confusing either. Like, they didn't just stitch it together to make it confusing or anything like that. Nothing happens that makes any sense. It's kind of like they take the idea from the start of Ghoulies and just go weird funhouse waxwork on it, and it is a mess. It is a mess of a film.
A good sign for me is that the recommended trailers, as I'm sitting here watching this on the side of YouTube, are for Life Force and TerraVision. And Arena, which I one of my favorite movies that is yet to make it to DVD. The masterpiece that is Arena.
Wait, is Arena the one where the aliens and the humans are fighting or whatever?
Yeah, it's Rocky in outer space.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that is on a DVD because I bought a 4-pack one time and that came on it.
Oh, yeah, I know it. You're right. I did see that is available only on a 4-pack, and I keep considering buying that 4-pack just because of how much I love Arena.
Anyways, the other thing that I watched The Martian, that new movie.
Ooh, don't tell me about it. Megan and I are going to go see it this weekend.
Okay, it was good.
Okay.
All right, so
That's it.
I dropped 2 hints of things that I watched this week so far through this episode. First one,
Lost Boys.
Lost Boys was one of them because I was at a masquerade on Saturday, and somehow it came up during the party because it was just at like a friend's house that 7 of the 9 people at this party had never even heard of the Lost Boys. So we immediately threw on the Lost Boys, and I still really like that movie. Like, a lot. I think that movie is still just fucking super fun, and I look forward to, in like a couple years from now, when we're like, hey, let's just do a movie that everybody's seen and go for Lost Boys, because that is just a fun movie. Like, there's nothing else to say about it. I fucking love that movie.
It was kind of you to introduce Sexy Sax Man into all those people's lives.
Exactly. The other thing I watched, I posted it on the Horror Club page maybe a week or 2 ago, is my favorite short film of all time called Das Clown.
I don't even know what the hell. Like, why are you so obsessed with clown movies?
Well, this was from when I was in high school, and I took my and I signed up for the high school film class. The teacher just taped like AFI or not AFI, IFC was.
I was about to get really excited.
Yeah, IFC did like a night of short films, and he just taped it because we were going to do a short film for one of our projects, and he's like, we'll just watch a variety of short films so you guys can see like all the different types of shorts that there are. And out of nowhere, like, there's all these artsy-fartsy shorts, and then just out of nowhere is fucking Das Clown, and the whole short is a slideshow. Like, the entire thing's presented as like a book-on-tape slideshow from like the 50s that you would watch in class, and it's the story of an old man who runs an antique shop, and his favorite antique is a clown named Bubbles the Clown, and one day he finds a book called Das Clown, and when he reads it, the clown comes to life. But like, the whole thing is narrated by John Popper of Blues Traveler. And
What?
Yeah, and it's all done like a book on tape, so there'd be like these weird lines of dialogue that I love, where it'd just be like, Das Clown, I believe that's German for the clown, said Mr. Willikers. It's just this absurdity. It's just 6 minutes of the most insane shit you can imagine happening. And every time you think you know where the short's going, it takes another cool twist. So definitely check it out. It's a good view. But I had to mention this, because at Weird Ass Movie Night last week, we watched what I consider the greatest heavy metal horror film of all time, motherfucking Rock and Roll Nightmare.
Again?
Yeah! That
Jesus
shit.
Christ. How many times have you watched that this year?
At least twice this year. Possibly 3 times if I pick it before December. Rock and Roll Nightmare, that's another one that we were fucking talking about one of these days on this goddamn show. But I know you've seen it, Scott. Adam, have you seen Rock and Roll Nightmare?
I feel like you've told me about this movie. What is the general plot outline of it?
You can't explain it.
A heavy metal band.
Can't explain it.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but the simple version is a heavy metal band goes to record their next album in a haunted house. But the reason why Rock and Roll Nightmare is amazing is because in the middle of the movie it just stops being about that for no explainable reason. Like, it just suddenly is a different movie halfway through. But the songs are fucking badass. I can't tell you anything more. All I can say is that Rock and Roll Nightmare's twist is comparable only to Sleepaway Camp. And it's out of left field batshittery.
Let's just say it's like it owes a lot to Krull.
Yes, and you know how great Krull is.
Oh yeah, one for the record books. All right, well, I look forward to going into that one blind too. Then.
All right, well, that was Trick or Treat from 1986. don't forget that you can always send us an email and tell us some movies that you want us to watch. We've gotten a good list that's growing, and I'm very much looking forward to discussing some of these films. That email is hmnpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, you can hit up the Facebook page. We're always keeping active up there. There's a lot of people are actually participating. It's cool when you see like other people posting on the wall. That one dude shared that link to go on a tour of Camp Crystal Lake, for example, and the one dude shared his fucking awesome artwork of Beef from Phantom of the Paradise.
Yeah.
So next week we will be discussing Poltergeist 3, which I know everyone is super excited for this one. So check it out next week when we talk about Poltergeist 3. And don't forget to send us an email and let us know what types of movies you would like to see us watch and review in the future at hmnpodcast@gmail.com.
Sorry, are we all just being quiet at once?
Yeah, well, I guess you got your bumper, Matt.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.